Welcome back, everybody, to Park Lane Podcast. I hope you're all doing very well after yesterday's game. My name is Luke. Welcome back, all of that jazz. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. If you're listening on any podcast platform, don't forget to drop us a follow and leave us a review.
5 stars.
Exactly, 5 stars all the way, baby. Anyway, let's go into it. Let's get into our other hosts that are here tonight. Callum, you're here. We didn't think you were. Last minute, you dropped in. How you doing, mate?
Mate, what can I say? Last minute winners yesterday, last minute tonight. I'm honoured to be here as always, mate.
It's good to have you, buddy. It's good to have you. And Dave, how you doing?
All good, mate. I'm not hungover this week, so I'm doing good.
That's what we like to hear. Exactly. Harry, how you doing? Hope you're not hungover.
Oh, no, definitely not. Not yet. No, I'm very good, thank you. It's great to be here after that dramatic win yesterday. So look forward to getting into it. And also on the derby next weekend. Bring it on.
Exactly. You know, and as you say, for those of you that live under a rock, it had glimpses of Leicester last season, didn't it? You know, last minute winners coming from behind. Spurs beat Sheffield United 2-1 at home. We'll get into everything and all those talking points, and along with the predictor table, the fantasy football, and also we'll go into the North London derby. So, Callum, I want to come to you first of all. So, Ange decided for an unchanged lineup this week. What did you think of the fact that he decided not to change the team?
One second. Sorry, my crashed.
Harry, I'll come to you for that question then.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, it's obviously the sensible thing because it's a winning formula that Ange has found. There's no reason to change it because I'm still not sure about Son in that number 9 position, but ultimately he's got a hat-trick against Burnley, so you don't take him out of that position. There's nothing really that would have been changed unless we got any injuries in the international break, which it looks like. We've got a couple of scares that looks like we got away with, which is the first time for a while now, which is good. It's always a worry because it feels like with Spurs, you're waiting for something, to burst the bubble in the international break. Could have been that. Luckily not, though. So yeah, I didn't expect any changes. What we expected, and once again got the job done. So there's no need to change the team when you're winning. So yeah, no surprises in there for me. Yeah,
definitely. And Dave, Harry made an interesting point actually then about Son being in that number 9 position, central striker role, because he was right. Against Burnley, scores a hat trick, but you know what Sheffield United are going to give you. They're not going to be as expansive as Burnley were, and yet the only options that we have realistically at this moment in time are Son or an out of form Richarlison. Difficult one.
Yeah, I've got 4 words for you there. The rise of Rishi.
Wow.
I'm telling you, mate, it's starting.
You've come around to it, Dave.
Yeah, that'll give them so much confidence. That really will. But in terms of Sheffield United, I actually was of a different opinion. I thought they might go at us a little bit because of the way we play. Hence why I predicted quite a wide win for us, because I thought they might come out the blocks and try and attack us because we are going to leave ourselves exposed at the back, which is my worry for next week. But they didn't. They played that Conte ball, as you want to call it. Everyone behind the ball, and made it low, a difficult low block to break through, made it hard for us. But it's a bit of a weird one because Son always scores against Burnley. He always gets hat tricks against Burnley, or always gets 2 goals against Burnley. That's just what Son does.
Yeah,
you can't really judge, one game putting Son there in the 9th position. I don't think he was great yesterday either, to be honest. I think the Burnley game kind of overshadowed the fact that he's been relatively poor this season. He's been slightly off form. But Richarlison obviously has been off form himself. But coming on yesterday, getting a goal and an assist just after I've taken him out of my fantasy team, I'm taking full credit for that. So I think that'll give him the confidence he needs to really step up. And I can see him getting 10, 12 goals this season.
Well, decent. I feel like I like this, Dave. I like this kind of.
I do.
positive,
He's changed. He's a different person.
I feel like you got a bit of a glow about you now, Dave.
That's just the poor light, mate. It's the poor lighting in my house.
Yeah. So before we go back to you, Callum, I just want to jump on some of the comments and shout out a few people that were in the chat. Obviously, if you're in the chat, make sure you get any comments and we'll read out everybody's that comes in, unless you're a bell end, and then I probably won't. But let's see. So we got Barney. He said, "Evening, Luke. Evening, Harry. Evening, everyone. Big up to me. Great channel, and look forward to this show as always. Thank you very, very much, Barney." We've got Thomas. Thomas said, "Evening, lads. Evening, Thomas, and thank you for your retweets earlier. Really do appreciate that." Who else we got in here? Oh, the mighty Holly Agenbar said, "I'm loving Big Ange instead." Big up to Jay. Evening, and then said, "Wow, what a game." And that's probably about it so far. But keep your comments coming in, and we'll jump on as many as we can. Callum, so first 10 minutes or so, it felt like pretty much every game we've seen under Big Ange for this Spurs team always seems a little bit lackluster and a little bit kind of takes a while to get going. Has that got anything to do with the international break, or it's just, the way they are?
I think, like we all said, we ate the international break. We didn't want a momentum to go. So, yeah, I would say that when you consider a few of the players actually didn't get back till, I think, Thursday or even Friday, some of them, I think a rocket up backside could have been needed, because they weren't on it at all. They were sort of sitting back, just tapping it about a little bit. But, yeah, I think first 10 minutes... they just need to switch on a little bit. But I think that's kind of been the young team aspect. They don't really have the full picture and mentality yet to be able to know how they get going. But yeah, they just need to be stronger to start with and start hitting the door before we even get there.
Yeah, definitely. Because Harry, it's a good point, because we'll touch on Arsenal a bit more detail, but we've got Arsenal the next weekend, and we cannot afford to start slowly. It's okay to start slowly against the Burnley team, and even go a goal down, knowing that we'll probably come back. But it's, we really need to kick on these games. It kind of reminds me a little bit, and, kind of go with me on this, of the way we kind of used to start under Conte. We would always start slow, and then at half time, we would kind of come out with a little bit more, I would say 20% of what we actually give now. But I mean, it's very similar to that. It just seems a little bit odd that we have been this season, United, Burnley, probably Brentford as well, come out pretty slow.
Yeah, perhaps it's a mentality thing, because, like you say, we can get away with it against those kinds of teams. But when it comes to Arsenal, they get the first goal. They know how to see out a league. Arteta spent loads of time with City at Pep. This would have worked on these kind of things. City, the best in the business, and they'll be able to probably be able to see the game out, and that is a worry for us. How long it took us to break down Sheffield United, but not only that, but then the fact to concede a goal. I think it's going to happen this season, but like I said, perhaps it is mentality. So you can look at the positives with Sheffield United and go, we showed real togetherness, team spirit and resilience to come back from a near impossible situation to not only get a point out of the game, but to get the 3 points, which is incredible. Nothing like that's been done to that level before, so that was impressive. Or you can look at the negatives and go that 90 minutes we didn't score against Sheffield United, and we struggled to bring them down. So it depends which way you look at it. Arsenal, obviously, and Liverpool coming up in the next 2 weeks will be a real test of how far we've come in such a short period of time, and a bit of reality perhaps. But I'm ready for it. Of course, we need to improve. Come spot on. Obviously, players, reported they only came back towards the end of the week, so it's going to take a while. International break, it's not helpful, put it that way. But Martinelli went off injured. That's a bonus for us. He hasn't performed great this season, but at his best, he's a dangerous player. So I've never felt confident for North London derby, but I'm more ready than I probably ever have been. So yeah, bring it on. But there's positives and negatives to take out of the game. But yeah, we can't play like that. It's not necessarily conceding first, but it's also struggling to break down the team for 90 minutes.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. Dave, I want to come to you on the. I don't want to talk about all the refereeing errors in the game because I felt that there were too many and could probably take up the entire game. And I also don't really like talking negatively about officials because I don't ever believe it will change.
I don't really care about talking negatively about them, I'll be honest.
But I want to talk about the Maddison shout for a penalty because in real time, I personally didn't think it looked like a penalty, but the more and more and more I watched it, I felt like there wasn't only one foul in there was two. What were your thoughts on it?
Stone wall. He come through the back of his foot, I think what had happened is the ref bottled it because he just booked. Who was it?
Basham, maybe.
Basham, whoever it was, but the ref had just booked it a couple of minutes previous for bouncing off or kicking a ball away or something like that. So I think the ref bottled it a little bit, and VAR bottled it because if he gives a penalty, he gives a yellow, and that means they're down to 10 men. So it was a stonewall penalty. And in terms of just touching on what Harry said really quickly, and a point I want to make, the difference between I don't take a negative from not scoring against Sheffield United in the first 90 because we know they're going to play that everyone behind the ball, try and grind out something, and then try and catch us on the break, which they did. But luckily we were fortunate enough to come round. I think more of a case of when you play other teams, Arsenal's, Liverpool's, teams that are a little bit more expansive, teams that are a little bit more, possession based and want to attack and want to score goals. That will create spaces, on both sides, on our side and their side. So I don't read too much into how dogged Sheffield United were. We know what sort of team they are. In terms of the officiating, mate, yesterday's quite frankly absolutely awful. The whole game was awful. Fair enough, we got 12 minutes added on at the end, but the time wasting, and the Sheffield United manager coming out and being like, "Oh, he doesn't know football." Well, he does. It's not that hard. If he's going on about what we adapt to them, what they're going to do. Well, you should have a plan B and a plan C. Being a football manager, that's your job. That's your job. It's not the referee's job to say, "Oh, I'll tell you what, you hold the ball for as long as you want until you figure out where you're going to play it." It doesn't work that way, mate. Don't waste time. Get on with the game. If you've got no options, move it along. That's the reality of it. So it's the manager's job as a manager of Sheffield United to say, okay, Spurs have figured out plan A, guys move to plan B. When they figure out plan B, guys move back to plan B, plan A, then move to plan C, etc. He's got to have other options. He can't just be saying, "Oh, the referees are killing the game." No, mate, that was your team killing the game by wasting time and then using some dog excuse after. Like, what's he supposed to do? Well, you should have other plans, other options.
Yeah, don't worry, mate. I've got a whole section dedicated to that bellend. So, we'll get to that. But Callum, I want to last bit on referees quickly. First of all, did you think it was a penalty or not? Second of all, there were like weird decisions that kept going on, right? You can understand the decision for handling outside the area because it wasn't a goal scoring opportunity. But then the referee decided not to book the goalkeeper for, time wasting after time wasting after. I remember a time when he had to get his gloves back on at some point, and but then there was weird stuff that happened. Like the ball got thrown on the pitch twice when we took a corner, and the second time it happened,
back to them.
He gave a free kick to a drop ball to the goalkeeper. Like it's absolute madness.
Penalty first. I was like you when I looked at it in real time because of the camera angles. I didn't think it was a penalty, but since I've seen it since then in pictures and stills, I think Diaz got a penalty a couple of weeks ago for Liverpool, and it was a lot softer than that, and it got given. Yeah. So
the Szoboszlai one, wasn't it?
Yeah, that one. Szoboszlai.
Yeah, it's never a foul.
Yeah. If you base it on that one, consistency in decisions, then it's a penalty and all of that. I mean, there was one with Son later on as well when I think he ran through into the box and he was taken out. That one was a little bit too soft for my liking. But yeah, I mean, when you look at it, how many red cards was there? 13 yellow cards given out yesterday.
I didn't see 13 reds, mate. That would have.
Well, that would be
That'd be
very
interesting.
That'd be a very good Sunday League match. But no, 13 yellow cards, including the second to give McBurney up to his red as well. The ref just lost control. The ref had no control from about the 20th minute over that game. He had no idea what was going on. And I mean, VAR weren't backing him up. The fact that he had to tell the Spurs bench to pipe down. You had the Sheffield United being told to shut up as well. The fourth official weren't doing nothing at all. I mean, there was so many debatable decisions, and I don't know what the ref was doing. But I mean, let's put it this way: looking at Twitter today or X, people are calling, including I think Roberts, to say that he should never ref in the Premier League again, and the PLA needs to come out and say something about it, because I mean, I don't know what Banks was doing. He just looked like he was not used to reffing a Premier League game. There was, like you said, the drop ball, the time wasting, everything like that. If you're going to time waste, yeah, I understand, give a yellow. I think because he was already on a yellow, to escalate that to a red card, I don't think that would have gone down very well to set precedent. But just actually tell the players to speed up. But the problem was the Spurs players weren't doing ourselves any favour as well, because the amount of times we kept going over to the ref and saying, what's this, what's that? You could probably say about 10 minutes of that was players having discussions with the ref. And if you're going to do it on principle, let the captains go over. Let the captains do the talking. Not everyone wanting to have a blinking chatting match. And it was just if you measured it, there was probably about 30 minutes of wasted time in that game yesterday. But it weren't just Sheffield; it was Spurs as well. A little.
Do you know what I find mad, Cal? Right? It's like, I don't know if you've been watching the Rugby World Cup. I don't know if you're rugby fans or not. But the way they are with the players are with the referees in rugby.
So much better.
It's how it should be with football. You know, the players in rugby, they know full well that if they say the wrong thing or they're abusive to the ref, they're going to sin bin.
It's a matter of respect. Simple as that. They respect the ref in rugby. In football, players do not give a flying so-and-so, because Harry's here, I can't swear. But yeah, they don't give a flying F about the ref. And that's the thing. It's like Dave's saying. It's in rugby, there's a matter of respect for the referee. You can hear what's being said as well on all the headset mics. You know what's being said. If a ref don't hear it, but a player swears at the ref and it gets picked up by the background officials, they can tell them to either sin bin them or get rid of the players. Simple as that. But because of these football players acting like knobheads after times, you literally, it's stupid. And until the PLA, like what they did the other week, released all of that mic recordings and the VAR discussions. Are they doing it every week now, are they?
It should do.
Yeah, it should be every week and all that to get consistency. Because, I mean, is it Heckingbottom, the manager? So, I mean, I think he's a dinosaur. He's a bit of a bellend anyway, but he's not wrong. There was a lot of wasted time. He said about the ref. Ange was a little bit more respectful to the ref and actually said to the players they need to get themselves sorted out. But the matter of principle is that if football refs are to do their job, they need to do it consistently and properly. Because, I mean, how many discussions have we had over the last 6 weeks since the Prem started where there's either VAR, silly decisions, time wasting across every fixtures, not just Spurs fixtures, across the board. And if you look at other fan groups, they are all saying the same as us. What is going on with the refereeing this year? Because there's no idea what is bloody going on.
I love Callum. You stopped yourself saying fuck, but then proceeded 2 seconds later by saying knobhead.
Well, it's more polite than that. It's more polite. Harry already heard that. He shouldn't hear that word until he's 18 or over. But trust you to say it, Dave. There we go. What can I say?
Yeah, good man.
We'll go on to the benefits and negatives of the added on time, in a minute. But I am an advocate for the added on time because I believe in instances like yesterday, you get your comeuppance in the end, right? And I feel like it makes the game much, much fairer. But I don't believe we'll see real-time discussions from the referees and fourth officials and VAR anytime soon because they don't want it. They don't want it. They don't want the scrutiny. They don't want anything like that, and they want to be protected as they are at the moment. And until something or somebody comes in and challenges it, then we won't see a difference. But let's move on to Sheffield United's first goal, Harry, because Spurs have been solid, right, defensively. There's been a few hiccups here and there over the start of the season, but you just knew it would be something Championship-esque that would result in a goal for Sheffield United, and it came from a long throw. And I don't know how long I've supported Spurs, and whenever I see a long throw come in, I always think, or some kind of set piece, I always think, oh God, here we go again. And the ball everyone missed their headers. The ball bounced to the back post, and fair play to the fella from Sheffield United, smashed it into the far corner. But do you think you could have done better from that?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, as a defensive team, you should have control of your own box when the long throws coming in. But like you said, it's always won over the years, especially when you play. No, it's disrespect to. Oh, I'm not even going to answer that comment. It just winds me up. That the smaller teams like Sheffield United, where you know that that's what they rely on. They rely on set pieces, long throw-ins. So it's just typical Tottenham. We could have done better to win the first header. It's very simple. Have any way you want to concede. You don't mind conceding from a moment of brilliance. When you concede from basic things, set pieces, long throw-ins, which you expect to deal with, it is quite poor. For a team like Tottenham, we started the season really, really well. And we do that against Arsenal, and it costs us potentially the game, and a lot more than that further down the line. So it's okay now because we came back. It could have been crucial because a point or two in football, especially this season, I think is going to mean a lot for what we can achieve and what we want to achieve. But yeah, it's poor defending. But quickly on the officials, what I would do is I'd mic up all referees and I'd scrap VAR. That's what I would do.
Interesting.
Can you do me a really quick favour, Luke?
What?
To pull up that comment from Johnny again.
Yeah, they scraped by against Everton. I'm not.
Hang on. So Everton are probably one of the worst teams in the league this season. They've been one of the worst teams in the league for the last few seasons. They've got 1 point this whole season. Arsenal just about scraped by Everton today. Let's be honest. And Everton probably should have had a penalty, but there we go. Welcome to the show, Johnny. It's nice to speak to you again.
Hope you well. I
knew you boys would get wound up by the comments somewhere. I just tried to
Johnny, comment. Thanks very much.
I would, if Johnny wasn't a subscriber and a regular viewer of the show, I would add him to my bell end list. But
get him on the show next week, mate. He can do it properly.
Yeah, sure.
Exactly. Dave, coming back to you. So obviously Sheffield United score around the 70th minute, and I don't know about you, right? But I'm in a group of people who we do like last person standing, it's called. So for those who don't know what that is, put a bit of money in the pot. You'll pick a team every week and they have to win. You can only pick the team once and then you have to pick another team and so on. You can't pick the same team twice. This week I had Spurs. And not only was I then a bit concerned that Spurs might go on to lose the game or draw, I was also then concerned for Ange Postecoglou's home record. Because I don't know if you heard about this yesterday, but he hasn't lost at home since he managed in Japan. And so like the last thing you want is for it to come at home against a newly promoted Sheffield United. When the board came up for 12 minutes added on time, which I actually thought was more than we were going to get, so I was actually very happy. Did you think that we had a chance, or did you have?
No, I knew we'd win. As soon as I mean, we saw 3 minutes go up in the first half, and everyone was like, "Well, how is it only 3 minutes?" But second half, that's my daughter as well. Hello, darling. Second half, when the 12 minutes went up, you just saw all of the Sheffield United players kind of like slump a little bit, like, oh no, 12 more minutes of this. Because let's be honest, apart from a wonder save of Vicario in the first half, point blank save with his feet, and then their goal, they didn't really create anything. It was just all Tottenham. we were all over him. I think Fotheringham was the reason he threw his gloves on the floors because they were so bloody hot from all the balls he was catching. So, the way I kind of look at it, all the Sheffield United players' shoulders slumped. They all kind of went, and even their manager, and then they just had that anxiety about them. And all the crowd got up. They saw 12 minutes. The crowd were all over it. The players got up for it. You saw Ange, rousing the players. So I had a funny feeling that if we got one goal, we'd get the second. Obviously, when we got the first goal, the Richarlison goal, quite late, I was like, okay, we've left this a bit late. But Tottenham being Tottenham, breaking our own record of the latest win in the football game, go and win. But yeah, I had a funny feeling that we were going to win.
Yeah, and I'll keep going with you, Dave, for a minute, because Ange made a few interesting changes. Now, the first few changes he made, you probably thought were quite accurate. Richarlison comes on, Brennan Johnson comes on. Obviously, Brennan Johnson scored. It was disallowed. But he made some really interesting changes. The most important changes were after we scored that goal. And that was he decided to go to a back three and take Van der Ven off. I think he put Emerson Royale on. He put on Højbjerg. Who else? He put on Perisic, a few other players. And, this guy has got bollocks, right? This guy is willing to say, you know what? Like, I can read this game. They're winning 1-0. They ain't going to attack us. There's no chance they're going to attack us, right? Because they don't want to concede or lose the game. And that was a stroke of genius, in my opinion. But what do you think of? Are you happy for Richarlison? Because it's a weird one, isn't it? I always think like Richarlison, I liked him, and then he was a bit shit. I didn't like him. And then I saw all the stuff of him in Brazil and him talking about mental health and the fact he needs to come and see a psychiatrist and whatnot. And then I liked him again. And then he scored. And now I think he's an absolute legend.
See, Richarlison's one of those players that if he doesn't play for your team, Harry, cover your ears a sec. If he doesn't play for your team, you think he's a bit of a cunt. Let's be honest. He's horrendous. So, but because he plays for your team, you love him. That's the way it works, So the way I kind of look at it with Richarlison is obviously him opening up in, how close that is.
Oh, Dave's probably been banned for using the word that we're not meant to use.
We've been monetized already.
Yeah.
Right. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, you're back now. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like I was saying, in terms of what Richarlison spoke about, that's close to me personally, and it takes cojones to come out and speak about stuff like that. So, the way I kind of look at it is, it was a perfect response for him. Hopefully, it makes him feel a bit better internally. Hopefully, it helps him improve his mentality internally, and hopefully he can kick on from here, because it is a shame. It's one of those things that, like Ange said in one of his press conferences, mental health affects everybody. It doesn't matter if you're earning millions and millions of pounds. It doesn't matter if you're, Cristiano Ronaldo. It doesn't matter if you're top of the game in everything you do. It's going to affect all of you and everybody at some point. So for somebody as high profile as Richarlison, who is Brazil's number 9, let's not forget, come out and speak about it. He needed that. We needed that as fans. And the reality of it is, if, for him personally, I'm delighted. Like I said to you, not everyone loves him, but he's got to improve on the pitch. But hopefully this gives him the edge to kick on.
Yeah, perfect. And I want to apologise in case anybody was offended by the language in which Dave used. The C-bomb will not be used anymore.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Anyway, Callum. So yeah, hopefully there won't be any more drops on your end. But the minutes go, 108 minutes. We go 1-1, and then 110 minutes. They decide, I don't know why, right? If you're the Sheffield United manager, that's the only thing you should be whinging about. And that is the fact they're trying to play out the back to a high press in the 110th minute of the game. Spurs win it back for a Doji. Ball to Richarlison. He is as selfless, as you like. Plays it to Decky and he slots it home. It was just absolute scenes when that went in, wasn't it?
Do you know you've missed out one crucial part of that, mate?
Yeah.
Højbjerg was involved in there as well.
Oh, for
I
God's
just missed
sake.
that out.
Yes.
Højbjerg
Get it, Callum.
was involved in that, and he actually beat the
Again.
press. And
Yeah.
I think that goal sums up a team that has a lot of guts to keep going. And Dave, your Wi-Fi is pretty bad. You got BT by any chance?
I do, mate. Yeah.
What a surprise.
Funny that.
But no, to be honest, for Sheffield to actually try and play like that, it's like how Burnley tried to do it last weekend or last time out against us as well.
Yeah.
Trying to play like that. These guys aren't strong enough as a team yet to be able to play against a high pressing Ange team. And yeah, Richie to be so unselfish to actually park, because he could have taken a shot from there, and there's a good chance that he might skied it over. But to actually give it to Kulusevski was great to actually do it. And to be honest, I think by that time, Sheffield were really not enjoying themselves, to say the least. They'd been in control and holding us back for over 100 minutes, and then to actually see it fall apart, they must have been bricking themselves, to say the least. So I think they were trying to do anything and everything just to stop Spurs. They ran out of ideas, and to actually have the team press like that and keep going was great. They did what Ange asked of them, and you can't ask any more. And it's like Ange actually said after the game that he had his own plan, because I think me and you actually were texting during the game, weren't we, Luke? And we were saying, what's going on? We're at 70, 80 minutes. Where is everyone? And Ange came out and went, I'd been timing the extra time. I knew what was going on. I didn't even consider that until I read it and thought, oh shit, he's actually made his subs there, and he's got something creative. So yeah, to actually use Kulusevski to keep him on, because he's got the best running stats of our team this year, hands down. He's run God knows how many kilometres for the team, and it's great to see him coming back to his best. And then you've got all the other ones like Richie coming on, making a difference, Perisic making a difference again, Højbjerg making a difference. So yeah, like Barney's just said, we just had that little bit extra. It just shows that what we have as a team is a lot more than what a newly promoted team have got, because they just couldn't handle it. But I'm not going to say Spurs were brilliant all game, because we really weren't. When you look at the stats, we had 28 shots and only 6 or 7 on target. My expectations were we should never have gotten to the stage we were. So I'm not going to say we were any better than we were. We just got a win, and we proved that we could do it.
No, definitely, mate. It was interesting that you mentioned about Decky as well, because when we were texting that time, I said that we needed Solomon off for Richarlison, move Son out wide, and then we needed Decky off for Brennan Johnson. But what Ange did was something completely different, and he decided to move Sarr off, Decky in field, Brennan Johnson on, and Perisic to come on. So what that actually gave us was, it gave us an extra attacking player in that area. And people have been talking about, Decky playing in that kind of 8 role, whatever you want to call it, alongside Maddison. And do you know what? Latter stages of the games, it just showed that it works, and he's in and around the box. Because I do like Decky. I like him a lot, but I'm not his biggest fan when he's going down the wing, because he's at his best when he jinks down the line and he doesn't cut back. When he cuts back, you know every time what's going to happen, and it's going to kind of be a cross or a shot with his left foot. But he's better. Do you remember last season against Bournemouth when he set up Bentancur? I think it was to score the winner, and he kind of took a little jink inside, so everyone thought he was going to cut back on himself, but instead he went towards the byline, just cut it back. And that's when he's at his best, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. But we're not talking about someone who's 25, 27, 29 or 30. we're talking about a 22 and 23-year-old, mate. He's still got time on his side. So, I mean, to actually be digging him out now, or well, not digging him out, but saying that he's only a one-trick pony is kind of a little bit, I think, disrespectful to him, a little bit, because I think that he's a class player. He's one of the most creative players we actually have. And he's got that sort of trickery about him. He can do a little bit of flair. He can do a little bit. But yeah, you are right. Him playing on the wing, it's like he said all along. He's always rather play as a number 10. So if he was to drop into a centre midfield to attacking midfield role, better than a winged player, I'd be all right with it, to be honest, mate. It'd be interesting to actually see. But we've still got Maddison in that place. So do you take out Maddison to play Kulusevski in that position? Or do you do what Southgate does and play Madders on the wing? Because that is just like pulling teeth. It is painful to watch. So
I know. That's a different story for a different day, to be quite honest, mate. To talk about Gareth Southgate. Jesus. That's a boring ass show, that.
Yeah. 10-minute show, that is, boys.
Yeah. So, H, just want to kind of come to you before we move on from this, because everyone's pretty much had their say. I want to talk really quickly about Heckingbottom's comments after the game, because you know, he was absolutely furious at the referee. He said that, when we plan to play it short, Spurs know what we're going to do, so we have to figure out a different plan. Well, surely, as like Alan Shearer said, right, there are only two plans. There's either play it short or kick it long. If you get impressed, you kick it long. If you're not getting impressed, you play it short. Like, I don't buy into that. I think he's a massive sore loser, and I think that those comments there are what might cost him his job, because there's already talks about him being replaced by Chris Wilder, and I don't think that I think that that's got something to do with comments after the game, the way that he handled himself. It just wasn't very professional, was it?
Yeah, listen, he basically showed someone who's fearing for their job, who's feeling the pressure of the Premier League. Perhaps he's not up to it, and things didn't go his way. He didn't think about what he was going to say. Part of me thinks, look here, and he falls under the Marco Silva category. Barney can relate to, where I love the passion. They say how they feel, and I think, forgetting the game and the decisions that happens in the game, him talking about referees in general, I seriously think he's absolutely spot on, and it needs calling out. However, when it comes to him talking about the time wasting and about how Sheffield United are unfairly treated, that is just delusional, because the referee was bad for both teams, but his decisions weren't great. But added time was added unfairly. His goalkeeper was lucky not to be sent off. And I absolutely love it, because nothing's going to change it unless you do that, Barney. But the goalkeeper, for me, I think it's a red card. You handle it outside your box. It sometimes gives you a yellow or a red. We want that consistency. I can understand it, but with the time wasting as well, he had to go for me. I'm not sure about the penalty, but I think the goalkeeper definitely should have been sent off. So the refereeing performance was poor. Probably a sore loser. It's a shame, because he started off really well, talking about referees in general, about how they were in our game, yes, about how we don't have consistency, yes, also true. But then when he brings in some of the decisions that he highlights, that is where he's wrong, and I think he's feeling the pressure. Slightly delusional, to be honest.
Definitely. Anyway, we need to move on, people, because there's many other pressing things to talk about. So first of all, we're going to jump on to my least favourite part of the show, and that is the FPL league. So the FPL league, make sure you join in. Needless to say, you should join in, because then at least you won't be bottom. Or Callum won't be bottom, I would say. But strangely enough, people, it looks to me like the FPL league has been updated. We've got a fresh update on the FPL league before the start of the show. It's turning into now my most favourite part of the show, because according to my phone, and it could be biased on my phone, according to my phone, I am now third in the FPL league, the highest of all the Park Lane podcast hosts. So stick that in your pipe, everyone. So just to run through where everyone stands, Juan Sancho has moved to the top of the league on 318 points. Brainy Paul is second at 312 points. I am third with 293 points. Then Wynnie, who is in Valencia today, he is fourth with 292. Dave is joint sixth by the looks of it, or somehow sixth with 290 points. And Harry Scarf, 286 points. And Callum is slowly crawling back with 191 points, but the person above you is only on 229. So it's 30 points difference. And you could.
Callum only scored 19 points this week. He had a shocker.
Yeah, he has an absolute shocker.
To be fair, boys, it's a very long season.
It's the worst in the whole group, Callum, your score this week.
Yeah, I know, but I did join a week later than you guys, so I am still struggling a little bit. And I'm not changing my team ever because I still can't remember my password or what email address I use for it. So, yeah.
I changed my team too much.
Yeah, so interestingly enough, if anyone wants to know the kind of finer details of this, is that there are only 7 points between me and Harry. So I'm top of the host section, and Harry, there's only 7 points difference. So it's all to play for, people. But that's actually cheered me up for today. So let's move on to the score prediction table.
This is the worst bit.
Yeah, so the scores this week, or the score predictions this week were: Dave said Spurs would win 4-0. Harry said we win 2-0. Wynnie said we win 3-1. Callum said we win 3-1. And Luke, who is me, said we would win 2-1. If anybody needs to know how the scores go, you get 3 points for an exact score or 1 point for your team to win. So everybody got 1 point, apart from me, who got 3 points, which does this to the league table. I'm on top with 8 points. Wynnie second with 6. Dave and Callum on 3, and Harry on 2 points. But as Dave says, it's a long old season. It's all to play for.
Oh dear. Right,
but quickly jump on to some comments really quickly. Thomas said, give Harry an extra point for a Richie goal and assist. Harry said Richie would score. No, you don't get
nobody listens to Richarlison. I said trust him. He's still going to score 15 goals.
Johnny's doing his own table, so fair play to you, Johnny. He says he's got 4 points. He got the 2-2 draw in the first game of the season, and he said it'd be 4-2 this time. And Barney said I failed on that prediction. Big style. Kyle has said, what's the code to join your FPL league? So we will find the code and we will get it to you very shortly.
We'll tweet it.
Okay, we'll tweet it. Fine. I was about to look through all of Twitter then, but I've got a show to run. So anyway, let's move on. We kind of got through those bits a little bit earlier than we usually would on the show because we have a small matter of the North London derby to go through. So we'll just chat now about the North London derby, get everyone's score predictions. I also want to see everybody's thoughts in the comments as well, regarding the North London derby, because there could be some interesting thoughts on this. So, Dave, I'll come to you first. How are you feeling about the North London derby?
I'll be honest with you, mate. I've told you this before. I hate it. I hate the North London derby. I don't love it. I hate it. I hate the end.
He hates it so much that he's now decided
he's gone away.
His Wi-Fi again.
He noticed
I'm back again.
It was mentioned. It's only happened after Boy. He doesn't like the truth.
I'm on BT, mate. That's what it is. My Wi-Fi is poor, so I'll keep it brief. But I hate the North London derby. I hate the whole process of it. It's just one of those things that I can't stand. We don't particularly do very well at the Emirates. So, I'll take a draw right now.
Hey?
A draw right now. That's interesting. Callum, do you echo those thoughts about would you take a draw right now in the North London derby and just move on to the next game?
As it's Emirates, exactly. Yeah, I'd take it and just move on. But then we've got bloody Liverpool the following week, so it's 2 horrible weeks in a row. But if we want to be big, and if we want to prove we're a bigger club than a load of the others, and we're ready to go back into the top 6, then we've got to play these guys, and we've got to play to win. Simple as that. We can't hide. We can't hide behind anything now. We've shown what we can do the last 6 weeks. We've beaten already one of the last year's top 6. So we've got to go again. Just go again, play how we are. And if we lose, we lose. It's not the end of the world. I know it's an North London derby, but like we keep saying, long season. So we've got to play to win. And if we lose a game. Simple as that. That's all.
Yeah. Here's a question for you, Callum. Who is this game bigger for? Is it bigger for Spurs or is it bigger from Arsenal? Because in my opinion, I think it's much, much bigger for Arsenal. Right? This is an established team. This is the young, snappy young kids of the Premier League trying to beat the Titans of Man City. All the plaudits they got last season, they still threw it away. This Spurs team have a new manager who's never managed in this league, who have absolutely zero expectation on them, and I think zero pressure. I think they should go into this game with no pressure whatsoever.
Yeah, if you'd have asked me this back when we last played them, I'd have said it was bigger for us because we could have stopped them getting the title, all of that. But yeah, for them, it's bigger this year. They've got a point to prove because they're 3 years now into their project. We're 3 months. So yeah, I'd sooner see it just over and done with than jump up and down and go, yeah, we got to really do it and all that stuff. I couldn't give a toss. I just want to enjoy watching us play football and all that at the moment. And probably Johnny will have a go at me or some stuff like that or whinge about us. But yeah, to be honest, I'd rather put all the pressure on Arsenal, let us play without any pressure. If we get a trounce in, then so be it. It's going to happen one way or another. We know we are not going to win every game this season. And Ange has already said that he's going to have some tough results in his first couple of months. So let it be one of these ones. I'd rather lose to the top teams and beat all the other little ones where he'd never get any points. I'd rather take all of them points than worry about just one North London derby because there's so many other teams that we can play and beat in this season.
Yeah. No, I get that. Hanspur TV, as happy as always, has said I'll take a draw as I think they'll beat us. So good to see there's optimism around in the Spurs fan base. But H, is it the be all and end all if we lose this game?
Good question. I'm sorry, but I'm not buying the no pressure thing. I get where you're coming from, Callum. In terms of the pressure is on Arsenal. They're 3 years into their project. There's no doubt about that. If they don't win or even if they lose, it isn't great for them. Someone who's just coming into the project, and pressure will be on Arteta before you know it. If we get a result there. But there's always pressure on North London derby, however months, weeks, days you are into a project. Obviously, we come into it with the underdogs. I say it now. I take a point. It's going to be tough. Take a point and move on. Absolutely. And I think that's achievable. Never, ever feel comfortable from North London derby. Completely agree with Dave. It's a fixture I don't like. And it can affect... I don't want to say it affects the season because, after a week or two, I will be able to move on. But it's that result that stays with you and affects your thoughts on the team for that month and for the foreseeable future. Obviously, it shouldn't, but that is the North London derby for you. You never hear the end of it if they won because it'll be, I'll wait until they finally played a big team and you've lost. So, not quite ready for that at the moment. I'm enjoying what I'm seeing. I'm not ready for reality, if you like. But at the same time, it does feel like a bubble's there and it will be burst some point or the other. But being a Spurs fan, I suppose that's always in the back of your mind. But no, I think we can go there and get a result. We must show confidence, we must show belief, and must give 110%. If we leave everything on the pitch and still lose, further down the line, I'll go, do you know what? We left everything on the pitch. That's the very least we can do. We want a result. It's not nice we don't get it, but we just don't want to be turned over. Last season there, we didn't even try. They came to our place and they made us look like a National League team. So as long as it's a close contest, we give 110%. You know, we're up for the derby, because I don't think we've been up for derbies for a long, long time. And that is a real shame. We've been up for it against the likes of Manchester City. When it comes to Arsenal or Chelsea, we frankly bottled it. So it'd be good to see us step up. But yeah, I'll take a point. I'll say it now.
Yeah. Do you know what? There's a couple of things I want to quickly talk about. I'll give my thoughts on the North London derby, but I want to just come to Johnny's comment just really quickly, because, you know, we have back and forth every week. But he has said, honestly, the match with Tottenham will be a breath of fresh air. I've had enough playing just teams that sit in their own box nearly all game, including United. Come at us, my guys. Come. That's fine.
Don't worry, Johnny. Johnny won't be here next week.
But yeah, do you know what? I'm kind of like, I get what you're all saying, right? And I also dislike the North London derby because, you know, so much excitement before the game, so many nerves before the game, and then it can all end in disaster shortly after. And it's also because a lot of my friends are Arsenal fans, and some of my really close friends are Arsenal fans. And so you never, you know, they hide in under rocks most of the season and then come out at the last minute. But one thing I do want to talk about, though, is there two things could happen in this game. One thing I'm fearful for is they hit us for 4 or 5. And the reason for that could be that, you know, and I've talked about it all season, is the inverted fullbacks. That, you know, that could worry me. And, you know, there has been a few times where we've lost possession at the back and other things like that. So that could happen. But quite easily, the opposite of that could happen as well. Because we have one man, you know, leading us as a manager who knows all about derbies. And that's Ange Postecoglou. That's one thing that people haven't realised about. He's just been the manager of Celtic, right? He's battered Rangers more times than I can think of. And the rivalry between Celtic and Rangers is up there, probably even bigger than Spurs versus Arsenal. And so if there's one man that's going to be able to get this team fired up, it's not Antonio Conte. It's not Jose Mourinho. But it is Ange Postecoglou. And I think that gives us a really good shot. If we win this game at the weekend, it could be an absolute game changer for the season. An absolute game changer, and that's for both teams. And, you know, I agree with you, Harry. All I want to see is the best version of Spurs turn up. I don't want to see us getting overrun in midfield, which I don't think will happen with Sarr, Bissouma, and Maddison. And I want to see us score. And I tell you what, if we score early, I want us to keep going and going and going and going. And you never know.
They're not their best. They're there for the taking.
You never know what might happen. But Dave, where's the kind of like, where do you think we could hurt Arsenal, and where do you think they could hurt us?
So interestingly, I know you said about you worry about the inverted fullbacks thing. You know, one thing that Arsenal have been doing, I've seen quite a lot of this season, is their left back kind of moving into the centre midfield. It'll be interesting to see if that happens against Tottenham, because as a team we play through the flanks. That's what we do. You know, we get down the sidelines. You get Solomon causing problems, etc., and things like that. You know, so for me, if they do adapt that role and Zinchenko does drop into the middle, I do think we can get at them. For me, in terms of where they can hurt us, it all depends on who plays up front. If they start with Gabriel Jesus, you know, he could hurt us. He's quick, nimble. One good thing today was I saw Martinelli got injured. Hopefully that's, you know, keeps him out of the North London derby, because I do believe that he'd hurt us as well. But yeah, I think it's a really interesting tactical battle this season. We're both teams that they're going to be bang up for it as a North London derby. Obviously, Tottenham being away from home worries me anyway. But you are right about Ange. If anyone can get him fired up for a derby, it's Ange. I mean, I watched a lot of Celtic, and you know, my family are Irish, you know, so I follow a lot of Celtic. So watching what he did to Rangers over and over and over again, you know, it's something that I'm really hoping that he can bring to North London. But it's a really interesting dynamic because Romero and Van der Ven solid at the back. Arsenal don't look that convincing defensively this season. They can't quite decide if they want to play that Kiwi or Gabriel, or they can't decide whether they want to play a 3 or a 4. So they're a little bit disjointed, whereas we're pretty settled in what we've got at the back. So for me, defensively, Pedro Porro worries me, you know, on the flanks. But, you know, I am hopeful. I'm slightly hopeful. I don't want to be too optimistic because, like I said to you before, I can't stand North London derby. It's not something I enjoy. Never have done. Half a family are Arsenal fans, other half Chelsea fans. So for me, it's a horrible time. But yeah, no, we can hurt them. There's no doubt. You know, I'm going to go in early with a prediction. I think it'll be 2-2. You know, and I'll take that all day long.
Mate, that's an incredible segue because we are now going on to the, you know, the score predictions. And it's interesting that. So are you going to go with 2-2?
Yeah.
2-2. Do you know what? I had 2-2 in my head all day today. And as soon as we started talking about a North London derby, I've changed my mind, lads. I've changed my mind.
Can you say we're going to win because you always seem to get it right?
Yeah. Imagine I'm just Mystic Meg. So, Harry, we'll come to you. What's your score prediction?
1-1. I'll take that any day of the week. I'm not going to predict us to win. I'd like to. I don't think we'll lose. I really don't. So I'm going to go the 1-1 draw.
1-1 draw. So for those of you that have already got your score predictions in, just chuck them back in the chat so I can bring them all up as we go through them. Dave so far has gone for a 2-2 draw. Harry has gone for a 1-1 draw. I actually forgot to ask Wynnie for his score prediction, but I'll be speaking to him tomorrow, so I'll get his score prediction tomorrow. Callum, what's the score prediction?
I'm going to go 2-1 Arsenal. I'd rather say that I don't think we're going to get a draw, mate, to be honest. I'm going to go 2-1 Arsenal.
Oh, God, you've absolutely killed this channel now. Thomas has also gone for 2-1 Arsenal. Barney has said both sides will attack. I think it's a different feeling at Derby, so I'm going for a 2-2 scoreline. Johnny has gone 5-3 Arsenal. I know, yeah, exactly. Thomas again said I agree with Callum. Do you know what, lads? I'm not here to bottle it. I'm not here to.
Here we go. We're going to win again.
I'm not here. Yes. We're going to win this game, baby. We're going to win.
Stick with you, trusty 2-1.
I'm going for it. 3-2. 3-2 Spurs. 5-goal thriller. Yeah, it's going to be a tasty affair. But you know, I'll get Winnie's prediction off him tomorrow, and
don't forget,
and we'll go from there. But you know, all that we know, people, is that it's going to be a good game. And Hasper TV wrote up here saying we've only won once there in the Premier League since 2010. Records are there to be broken.
Yeah,
records are there to be broken.
We've just had our best start to a Premier League season in God knows how long. We've also just broken the record of the latest ever win in the Premier League. So you never know.
Why can't we do that?
Exactly. One thing you see from this team has been fight, heart,
commitment,
desire, commitment, and passion. And that's what we need to see. Thomas has said, go on, Luke, with the score prediction. And he said, if Luke says it, it will happen. So on that, you know, incredible note, we might as well end the show. So thank you all very, very much for tuning in. Do not forget to hit the like button. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel. It is free to do so. And over 70% of people that watch this channel do not subscribe. So make sure you subscribe because it really does help us out.
And it's free.
Free.
Exactly.
Takes no time.
It is free. Dave seems to have gone again. So I will. Oh, you're back. Dave, how can everyone find you before you go?
On this channel or at Park Lane Pod Dave on Twitter. I'm always up for a rant, always up for a debate. So get at me.
Perfect. Callum, thank you once again for joining us. How can everyone find you?
As always, mate, Callum Stubbs 97 and on Twitter as well. I'm not like Dave. I will not have a fight with you. I will have a polite discussion and limited swearing involved. So, yeah, what can I say?
And are you on any shows this week, Callum?
I will be on with Mr. Scarfy tomorrow night, but I will not take his phone.
Oh, of course, yeah, you are. Yeah, I forgot that. Yeah. See you tomorrow.
Oh, cheers, mate. Yeah, cheers. Thanks for
Sorry,
that,
sorry, all right. You know what my memory's like. Yeah, you are on tomorrow, actually.
I am on with Harry tomorrow night, mate. So should be a good show.
Yeah, perfect. Make sure you tune into that. And H, thanks again, buddy. How can everyone find you?
Yeah, a massive thank you, Luke. If you haven't already, I mean that stat is shocking. You know, and yeah, we do our best here. And like any other channel, you know, it's important to support the Spurs family. It takes about 2 seconds. It'll brighten up your day, gets you involved. So yeah, make sure to subscribe. Also, we know a lot of you listen on other podcast platforms, so that 5-star review and follow is also massively appreciated because it is free to do so. That's the most important thing. But if you want to follow me, can there, Harry Scar 22. Weekly live show tomorrow, Monday, 8 p.m. Elite lineup, I would say. I'm joined by Lee McQueen for the first time, Josh Hughes from the Mail Sport, and Callum, who, yeah, I did forget. I'm very, very sorry. And also before that, he won't let me forget this. Before that, I'm on BBC Essex with Barney, talking about our day with Fulham and our upcoming day with Spurs in, let me get this right, October or November. So that'll be a really good one. Shows I'm on this week. I'm on A View from the South Stand, I think, and a couple of others. I can't remember the name. My memory is awful, but I'll be back here next Sunday discussing, let's go for it, a win. And that's why Johnny will not be here. Bring it on, I'm ready. So yeah, Luke, massive thank you.
Love it, love it. No, thank you very much, guys. Do appreciate it. If you want to follow me, it's Luke_Park Lane on Twitter, but more importantly, make sure you're following Park Lane Podcast and subscribing, liking, sharing. It's Park Lane Pod on Twitter, Park Lane Pod on TikTok as well. But just to let you all know, I will be hosting Holly Agrambar's show tomorrow on her channel. So I'll be doing Holly's Hotspurs tomorrow, 7 p.m. I'll be joined by Spurs Views. I'll be joined by Wynnie. And there's another fella, but I can't remember. It's all on our Twitter. It's all on my Twitter and all on Holly's Twitter. So big shout out to Holly and really appreciate her deciding to go with me to host the show in her absence. So make sure you tune in tomorrow at 7 p.m. That's Monday night, 7 p.m. But that kind of wraps us up for the show. So once again, thank you all very, very much for joining in. The love that you guys give on these shows and the people that we see week in, week out makes it, even better for us to do every week. So keep it coming, keep the love coming, and let's see you all next week, next Sunday, 7 p.m. as we go over a win in a North London derby. See you next time.
Yes.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.